Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show with no name. I probably don't need to tell you who I am because it's probably right down here, but I'm Theonie Roussianos.
And I'm Adaire Palmer. I'm the blonde one.
Well, if anyone's watching in black and white, well, they'd still be able to tell. And so we dreamed up this show over a year ago now and basically, long story really short, we love helping communities in all sorts of different spaces. And we created this show. The show evolved quicker than we thought it would. It just happened. Good morning, Kerry. It happened, before we got any real planning done, which there seems to be a pattern here. And so we thought we had a program to go with. We had our first show sorted. We had our first guest. We didn't have a name, so we called it the show with no name, and it kind of stuck.
I've got something here. So I'm just getting sidetracked here, but I had this in my agenda and I'm just going to pop it up because that's so us this morning.
Where am I? What am I doing? Who am I with? I have no idea. So we started this program because in an effort to help people doing things for charities, not-for-profits, their own community and other communities as well, because everybody in their own way is doing something to make a difference. And if you're making a difference in just one person's life, then you're doing your part to change the world.
You definitely are. And we are, look, I'd like to say hi to Roz here. Again, Roz, you're amazing. She's omnipresent, that girl. Marianne, hello, welcome. And Rach, hello, and thank you for joining us. Please let us know where you are. I know where Roz is. She's, I don't actually. She could either be in Port Elliot or Meningie. We're not quite sure with Roz, but let us know where you're just jumping in from. And also, we would love for you to help us share this information because we're about to share with you today a special guest who has just agreed about 20 minutes ago to jump in and live with us. So we are, as we said, flying by the seat of our pants. This is LOLing, learning out loud and and sharing because we want to bring you things, charities, not-for-profits, and people who are doing amazing things, like Theonie said, to help the community and people around them. So today we've got a very special Adelaide-based business owner and NLP master, practitioner extraordinaire. I know that, right? Toni Everard, and she is actually going to be sharing with us her experiences about a recent business retreat that she went on with Jodie Nevid from the 7 Effect and several other participants. Now, they went to Bali, and as part of their retreat, they did some social good in Bali with Bali Kids. So I'm bringing Toni in now. Hello, Toni. How are you?
Hi, I'm fabulous. I think I'm finally acclimatizing back to winter in Adelaide after being in Bali, nice and warm for a few days. But yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, really well.
Good.
I was going to speak over you. Thanks for joining us. And as Adaire said, at very last minute, we did have a show up our sleeve. We have got a backup plan for a show when a guest falls through or whatever. So there's a show up our sleeve for when, because sometimes guests do fall through and things. So thank you for jumping in last minute. You're a trooper.
You really are.
Right. Nothing a bit of a dry shampoo and lip gloss couldn't fix that.
At 9:10, I'm sitting here in my pajamas. So, yep, I get that. Roz is in Port Elliot, then at Meningie. I got both of those. And Rach is at Leeton in New South Wales. Thank you for joining us. And Marianne is back in her home state in Melbourne. So, yes, if you would like to help us share this information, because it does take a village to build the presence and the awareness and gain sponsors and donors and volunteers for the people that we talk to, and just even awareness for as what we're doing today around.
And it's awareness, and also somebody hearing the story, it might be just the thing that they need to give them the drive to go forward with an idea that they've got to help a community in their own community or something. So sharing the stories of, even little, no matter how small or big the things are people are doing, sharing those stories can have a huge impact on someone else.
Yeah. And before we get into the retreat and the Bali Kids experience, that actually happened. Was it last week, Theonie, that we spoke to? No, the week before we spoke to Julie about her son's organ donation.
Yeah.
And we actually were able to introduce a person who didn't know about a support community who was a kidney recipient and didn't know about this community that's being run right here on Facebook. And so it made the difference, a huge difference in the life of one person. So it keeps us going, doesn't it? So, Toni, share with us your experience and how you ended up on retreat and what sort of things that you did to help you become a better person and a better business person to be able to serve the community better.
Yeah, so it was without a doubt the most memorable 8 days, I think it was, that I've experienced. And it's funny because I've been to Bali a couple of times before, and in fact I was there last year, and there was a lot of things that I wanted to do at that time that I didn't get around to doing. And so as you mentioned, Jodie Nevid is she's my business coach, one of the co-founders from the 7 Effect. And I'm part of her Lifestyle Business Builder program, and I'm also being accredited throughout to be a 7 Effect coach as well. So I'm quite involved with the 7 Effect and the Lifestyle Business Builder program, and I go to all of her events because she's an amazing coach. And Adaire Palmer, I know you can attest to this as well. She just has a wealth of knowledge, having a really big background in small business and leadership and all these kinds of things. And she also has a background in NLP, so we've got a really good affiliation there. And so I'm getting more involved in sharing some NLP in the 7 Effect community as well. So, however, when Jodie announced that she was going to run a retreat in Bali, it was just like a no-brainer. I'm like, oh my God, I've got to be there. And then as she started revealing the schedule of what this was, it's, early morning beach walks, because it's a brain body business retreat. And I think this is what's so important as business owners, is having this really like whole look at our life, because as business owners, your business isn't separated from who you are as a person.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing. So we need to be looking after our brain, we need to be looking after our body, and of course that in turn helps look after our business. So when I looked at the schedule, it's early morning beach walks and meditation and yoga and plant-based foods, and then incorporating that with some really leading edge business and marketing strategies. So once I saw this, I was like, oh my God, I've got to be there. This sounds amazing. And then to top that off, she also included that we went on day trips. So we went for sound healing at the Pyramids of Chi.
Wow.
We went to fire ceremonies with a Balinese priest at the 5 Elements. We went snorkeling with on a tropical reef with all these fish and turtles and sea snakes and giant manta rays. So it was the most amazing experience. But
I'm terrified then.
You just said snakes, and I'm like,
well, I'll have to say there was one sea snake, but I did swim over it. And apparently they are poisonous, but their mouths are too little, and I didn't go down there and put my hand in its mouth. But it was a little bit creepy. But it was just, all of this stuff was amazing. But most definitely the most heartwarming part of it for me was when we did have the absolute pleasure of going to visit Bali Kids. And so Bali Kids is a hospital, it's a clinic, and so there's kids that live in there that they're orphans, or they're either orphans or they only have one parent. And often what happens is that if a parent has a child in Bali that has high medical needs, they just literally can't look after that child by themselves. And so the child, there's a place like Bali Kids where the child can go and be cared for in a clean environment. Because often, these kids will have skin issues or all kinds of things where in their natural village, they just don't have the supplies or the sanitation for them to really get well. So there's this Bali Kids was built by this hospital that was built, and it was actually founded, and this was what was really amazing, is that Susan Ruslan of Talking Dental was on the retreat with us. And she had mentioned that, it'd be great to go and visit Bali Kids. And so she said, oh, yeah, I did a bit of work around this, a few years ago. And so we get to Bali Kids, and we met the people there that were running, and then just amazing people that are just, they just want to care for these kids. And we go in and we have a bit of a look around, and we go into the dental part of it where there's 2 dental chairs into the clinic, and one of these chairs has been donated by West Lakes Dental. But on the wall, there's a picture of Susan Ruslan, who's the founder of Bali Kids. And so we were like, oh my God! So you just had a little bit to do with this, and what was really
talking that up either, was she?
No, and and I think this is so common with people that just truly give from their heart and want to help people, is that they're not always out there waving the flag about what they've done. But so, and it turned out that Sue, back she's got a really thriving business now, but back a few years ago, she was struggling a bit as a single mum, and she decided that she was going to get on board of helping someone, other than herself, to really shift her focus and be able to give, and as a way of helping herself as well. And it all started with she was going to Bali, and she got a suitcase and she put it in her son's classroom and said, if anyone's got anything that they can donate to these kids in Bali, we're going over there, and I'm going to take this suitcase. And that's how it really started. And so from that point, she's done endless work, along with another fantastic guy called Brenton. I forget what his last name is, but Brenton's still there. And he's not paid for his work. He's there and he's working, living on his own super and helping these kids, which is amazing. But so, we had the opportunity to go in there and donate some money there, but it's become something that we actually want to do and really build upon and raise funds for these for Bali Kids. And in fact, in next year's retreat is going to be another big part of it as well. But they were saying it only takes about $90,000 a year for them to run Bali Kids. So they're doing it on a really lean budget. And you have to think about it. It's like $90,000. Like, it can't be that hard to really raise some money to help these people who are doing such a fantastic job and working with these kids. And, they were such beautiful kids. A lot of them have got HIV or some other. There was one little boy there that had a skin condition. I can't remember exactly what it's called now, but he basically has to be covered in Vaseline every 2 hours, or otherwise his skin will sort of dries up. And, there's the kind of care that these kids just can't get anywhere else. And especially with having HIV, these kids are often not really that welcome in their villages. There's a lot of fear around it. And so, these beautiful kids are there. They're in a nice, clean environment. They get to go to school. They get to be cared for and loved. And really have a chance at life that they wouldn't have otherwise. And it was so beautiful. We met these kids and they all shook our hands, and they were so beautiful and welcoming. And so then we sung them Once a Jolly Swagman. We were like, let's sing a song, and we were like, what? Something Australian. We were like, Once a Jolly Swagman.
To video something like that.
Yeah. It was fantastic. There must be footage of it somewhere, I think. But, the kids loved it, and then they sang us back a song in Indonesian, and it was just so beautiful. I was just, I really feel as though there's something special about contributing to others that really just makes, it makes the world a better place, not just for everyone else, but for I know for me, I just felt it was so much love and connection. It was amazing.
And I think that giving back as part of your receiving as a business is critically important, because we do. I think, like you said about Susan, I had no idea. And I do know Susan. And Susan, if you're watching this, shout out to you from Talking Dental, because
I had no idea. I'm actually friends with Susan's sister. Her sister, my son, one of my sons goes to school with Susan's, I think it's her older sister. And she hasn't even mentioned that.
So, yeah. And we've got Laura from Brisbane. So we've got people from right across Australia here and probably across the world eventually with the replay. So we are actually broadcasting on mytimetv.live, and we're syndicated out to over 50 channels of TV on demand through the Binge Networks program, syndication program. And we would love for you to let your friends know this information. And if they are business people who are looking for inspiration to do good in the community, this is what we're focused on today with the 7 Effect, Jodie Nevid doing some business coaching in a brain body business retreat in Bali recently. And Toni is just back from there and is sharing with us her experiences about Bali Kids. So, and helping the Children's Hospital there. So welcome if you just joined us or if you're here for the replay as well. So
do you know what they do? Sorry to talk. No, I'm not. Do you know what they
I'd be surprised if you didn't.
So you said it costs them $90,000 a year to keep the clinic running. What do they do currently to raise funds? How's it funded?
Yeah, look, I couldn't tell you all the details off the top of my head there, Theonie, but I know that there is some funding that comes from some other countries. I think some from the US and somewhere else. I can't really remember, but look, it's something that they're having to constantly work at, that they have to constantly keep proving that what they're doing and that they're providing, services for kids and for families, and they have to jump through a lot of hoops to really keep funding coming for the purpose of what they're doing. And I guess I can appreciate that money and funding there's a lot of competition for a lot of good causes. But I think the work that these people have to go through every year, like several times a year, to prove that they're providing a service and to be able to get funding to help these kids is quite incredible. And I think the more that people can donate and just give from their hearts to be able to help these people, just gives them a bit of a break so that, they can spend more of their time doing the important stuff of caring for these kids than trying to jump through all the bureaucratic loops of stuff to prove that they're worthy of funding as well. So we're currently working on what's going to be our fundraising focus for this, having just got back a week ago. It's still in the process of getting together, but definitely we're looking at some fundraising type events that we can put together so that, definitely by the time we go back to retreat next year, so the Brain, Body and Business retreat, the 7 Effect, will be happening again next July. I think it's about the 24th of July from memory. Mm-hmm. And I'll be back there. I'll be co-hosting next year as well with Jodie. So I'll be bringing in some NLP and some of my meditation as meditation leader as well. So we're really going to be looking at really upping the ante of how we can contribute to Bali Kids and, just make things a bit easier for these guys and the fantastic work that they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Adaire, I don't know if I'm talking over you now because to me you're a black screen. I can't see or hear you. Can you see and hear Adaire?
I can mute Theonie because I have controls. Can you hear me, Toni?
Yes, I can hear you, Adaire.
Okay. Can you tell Theonie just to refresh then?
Theonie, can you refresh?
And so there we go. That was actually quite amusing. So, well, in the interest of full disclosure, Jodie is also Theonie and my business coach as well, and we're definitely planning on being at the retreat in 2020. And we are looking forward to becoming involved in the fundraising efforts as well. Now, I think it's really important to understand that, like, what we're talking about today is a slight departure on what we do normally talk about, which is charities and not-for-profits and community fundraisers. So this has a slightly different focus, as in if you're a business owner and you are looking to contribute, there are many ways that you can. And there's probably many ways that you do. Here's Theonie. So I'm going to suggest that we do, if you want to keep in touch with what's happening with Bali Kids, I have put Toni's details above. There's a little link there that you can send Toni a message on her Toni Everard Coaching. Now I've got to remember what it's called. What's your page called? Let's have
Toni Everard Coaching. Yeah, that's it.
There we go.
Not too
What star? I don't even know it. So we're talking.
Yeah, definitely.
Global Village this time. And
I can say myself, or Jodie Nevid at the Seven Effect, or Susan Ruslin at Talking Dental. Any of us can definitely help with anyone who's interested in getting involved.
So that's amazing. Please do, and please also remember it takes a village. This is hashtag it takes a village, and that was the first time I heard that was from our amazing friend Kirsty Roach, who is no longer with us, and we are honouring her with that hashtag as well. And also, please do let your friends know this information.
And it takes a village. Things like that do catch on. I know Tea Tree Gully Rotary have adopted It Takes a Village in everything that they're doing as well, which is awesome.
Shout out to Glenn and Joylene, who are amazing as well. And yes, I've got a million brain thoughts running in a million different directions here. So do you want to wind it up, Theonie? Because I'll just sit here and go, like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, you're doing a great job. So, yeah, as Adaire said before, now I didn't hear what she said when I was refreshing because I couldn't hear anything. So as I did hear her say earlier, definitely get in contact with either Toni or Susan or Jodie Nevid on any of their respective pages. Are they all linked above?
No, just Toni's.
Just Toni's. Well, get in contact with Toni and she can point you in the right direction. Depending on what your query is, she may need to lead you to one of the other two amazing ladies. And, you know, the retreat might not be something for you. It might be something for you. Definitely contact the Seven Effect and have a look at the event because it might be something that you'd be interested in attending next year.
That's what I was saying when you dropped out. I said, we'll be there.
I already said I'm going to the event. I'm not asking you. You're not my mother.
I just told the world that we'll be there. So we're on the same page for this.
And so, yeah, and they're limited numbers. How many people did she take on the retreat?
This year it was, I think there was 9 of us, but next year there'll be a maximum of 20. So It is expanding a little bit next year, but it'll be capped at 20. So it's still going to be, so, you know, it's quite intimate for deep dive business strategy coaching. Yeah.
And if you're scared of snakes, you don't have to snorkel. You can hang pool with me and have a mocktail or something.
I would go just for that. So I'll protect you.
And if you, regardless of whether or not the retreat's for you, definitely get in contact if you're interested in learning more about Bali Kids and how you can help. I'm gobsmacked that it was an Adelaide woman who founded this thing and met her a few times and she's never mentioned it.
Yeah, she's truly amazing. And I think even she sort of said, I feel like I've kind of just brushed it aside of how much I did. You know, that few years ago, but she's amazing. She's done some amazing work and is right behind us, you know, really amping things up again for these Bali Kids.
Well, I'm going to bail her sister up and ask her why the hell she didn't tell me about it as well.
Roz is saying great info and sharing today. Thanks. And thank you, Roz, for joining us.
Thank you,
everybody, for joining us.
Yeah, so definitely jump on board. contact Toni, ask her any questions, any questions with respect to whether it's the retreat or Bali Kids itself and how you can help. It could be as simple as, getting your school involved as well.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Great idea. Well, we're going to wind it up a few minutes early because all three of us have actually a business coaching call to be on at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We do look forward to speaking with you again and seeing you 9:30 a.m. next Thursday. That's Australian Central Standard Time for the show with no name. Bye.
Thanks, ladies.